Okay. Hey guys, back again. So this is video 5, and we'll pick up where we left off. Um, okay, so we had implemented the first URL request, and we'd left everything in a pretty uh kind of in its original state as we you know plugged it all together. So let's try and clean things up and implement a few bits and pieces that we left out. So empty state handling, progress views, um, and some small error handling. Nothing too complex. The error handling can be time consuming. So first thing I'm going to do is introduce the generics that we spoke about in the last video. So just to separate the fetch all posts behavior, the construction of this URL request, and then instead I'm going to extract this URL request logic and handling status codes and um, even the JSON decoding as well. And we'll try and make it into a generic method that we can reuse with other requests later on and other codable models. Okay, so let's go with it. So it's a function. Let's just call it make network request. Oh yes, look at that. Okay, so we want T, and T has got to be decodable. That, and yes, the API should take a. So what have we got here? A URL request. So we'll grab this guy. So we'll just say request Q request URL request, and it will be asynchronous, async, and it will throw also, and it returns this generic model here. So that's pretty much it, and we're going to grab this logic and just move it to our new method. So we're making this request data response try away URL session data for this request, which we've passed in. And we're going to check that we have a status code in the response, and we expect something in the 200s to denote success. So we look for that, and if we don't get that, we're going to throw an error. So in this case, we're throwing just a generic error for now. I'm going to say, what would that? It's going to say bad server response. For now, that's better. And then we do some decoding here. Okay, we can do a try catch here. So do that. Let's catch the error. We can actually unwrap the error here. And here we'll just use the JSON decoder. JSON decoder decode. So not all posts anymore, but just T self. I'm going to say an array of T for now, because that's kind of what we're using. So we'll use that. I think we'll do that. Let's get rid of the optional and try. This is coming from data. That's fair enough. Result of try is unused. Okay. So let's say return. Try decoder. Decode. So cannot convert an expression of that. Okay, let's do this. Sorry. So whatever we pass in or expect as the response will be what the JSON decoder tries to decode. We'll be passing in an array of decodable types. So that's it. Return those. Let's catch the error here. Okay, let's oof, um, okay. Throw another error. Throw that error. Okay. So this is pretty generic, and I think this does what we needed to do. That's fine. Fetch all posts. So we append the posts path. I'm going to take out this. I don't really. Hmm. Yeah, I think I'll put this in constants. Where is it? Constants is here. So constants I'm going to put into a folder as well, because this will be common across the app. New folder from selection. There we go. And let's call that common. Oh, it should not be in list view. Right. There you go. That's better. And in common, let's define some more strings, which is an API client, not the protocol. Do that. Let's do a static let, and it is the not. Oh, not a bad idea. And static let hosts endpoints. Look at that. Okay, so let's do this. So here we're going to just constants dot API client dot posts endpoint. There you go. And the base URL in here, let's not just plug the string directly in. We're making sure it's the same. Yes, it is. So we'll put constants dot API client dot base URL. Okay, this here, I'm gonna say I'm gonna put this error string in here as well. So I'll just say base URL. Base URL. Pass in the string. Try and make a URL out of that. URL failure. Base URL. Base URL failure. It's just that error in here. Nope. This guy. I will say failed to create base URL. Sorry. Failed to create URL from base URL string. Yeah. So I'll use that. So putting the fatal error there is, we would not expect this to fail, but I think it's fine there for now. Let's make sure this is indented correctly. In fact, let's do the whole class. It's fine. Okay, so all post base URL appending path components. That's fine. Let request equals URL request. URL, all posts URL, that's fine. And now let's call our new method. So we'll say let models equals make URL request with the request. Oh, no. Yeah, okay. I get you. So I'm just going to say return. Let's just return it. It's expecting to infer a type from the call. So let's get rid of this second call here. So call control, that's fine. Okay. see. Try wait. Make network request. That's fine. Okay. There we go. And let's go back to our list view. Sorry, we'll plug this out for now. Just gonna say bad server response. Static let bad server response. It's that API client dot bad server response. Okay, let's go back to our list view here. So API client, this is fine. Let's go to the view model here. Fetch all posts. Okay, we're making the request in this task modifier. Before the view loads, and we're going to catch. Okay, so what next? Let's make sure this still works and we haven't broken anything. Run it. Build. And wait for the simulator, wherever it is. There it is. There we go. Okay, so that's working. Let's see if preview is still working. I might extract this card view. It's reusable and just keep everything concise, and static method build expression requires that card view conform to view. Does it not? Looks to conform to me. There we go. And there you go. Okay. So let's see, does this preview still work? Canvas. Loading. Very good. User ID 1, 2, 3. All right. Yeah, it's probably better with 1. Fine. There we go. And do that. Go back again. All right. So what do we want to do now? Let's implement a progress view and the empty state. This is pretty straightforward. So let's start here. So really what we want to do here for the progress view, we want to maintain a published variable, not an error. I'm going to say is loading, and let's say it's false, just like that. And then what we're going to do here is when we make the request, we will say is loading true, and on completing, oops, so that's when we make the request, but on completion, we will set it to false. Okay. This fatal error means we probably don't need to worry about that, but we shouldn't be doing that. In fact, I'm going to remove this next. Remove for UI alert. We don't want to be fatal error here. So we're just setting this to false. So now we need to use this this is loading variable. So we'll say if view model dot is loading is true, Then we want a progress view. So progress view, and then there's a modifier on progress view called content size and large. And then we won't play around with tinting or anything else for now. That's good enough. So we'll do an else here, and then our list will go in here. Now this is going to cause a few issues. Let's see what issues it causes. Huh, okay. Boom, boom. Okay, so the list style is not going to work here. Let's get rid of it. Put it in here. I'm going to put it in line. Sometimes I like to keep things in line if there's a single modifier. Um, it's just a matter of styling, really, code styling. What are we at? 16 minutes. That's okay. And then the task. Okay, so this is complaining now because we're no longer returning a consistent view. So Swift UI can't apply this task modifier on this inconsistent structure. It needs to be a view. So we can do a couple of things. A quick thing we can do is just add everything to a group, um, to a view group. Boom. Sorry, bring that up. Hit that. That solves the issue. So a quick look at what the declaration of group is. A type that collects multiple instances of a content type, like views, scenes, or commands, into a single unit. And therefore, I can apply this task again. So I think this will give us our progress view. This will give us our progress view. Let's see, can we see it? Okay, are we going to see it? I did not see any progress view there. So if it's loading, show the progress view, otherwise show the list. Let's remove. I got you. Okay, let's remove this. Just be explicit for a moment. I think we might need some mocking on this just for later, but let's not do it yet. There's the progress view. Okay, so the progress view is there. We're not seeing it because my network conditions here are very good. So that's correct. Let's make an empty content view as well. So we'll say, oops, say if the view model is loading, show the progress loading, else if item, the view model items is empty, give me a content unavailable view with a title and an image. So the title we will say is constants. Again, let's keep all our strings in constants. List view, not the user ID label. Okay, so an image here, let's use SF symbols here, and I've already got this guy lined up. So let's use him. I can't remember how to do this. How do I do that? Let's find out. It's not just a string, is it? Is that it? Image? Is it a string? I think it is. The image is a string. Okay. Let's give it a go. I'm going to extract this image out of here. I'm going to do something similar to what we did for constants. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a struct called style. Usually I put spacing, colors, image names, stuff like that in here. So let's do that. So enum, images, boom. Let's do a static, let, not, or not image, just a string. So we'll say empty empty. Okay, empty state image. Let's go here and put that in there. Too many exclamation marks, quotation marks, excuse me. Copy this guy out, jump back to our list view, and here we will just say style dot list view. No, sorry, dot images, an empty state image. And let's go with that. So now let's just remove this for now. I'm thinking I want to mock this out, but I'm just going to go with this approach for now. The catch is not going to do anything. That's fine. So we should get an empty state. Sorry. So the user ID, and we're not getting an image there either. So let's have a look at that. API client, list view, empty state, static, let empty state text message. No posts to display. That's pretty good. Am I going to go with capitals? No, no. Let's go with that. No, just go with that. So, no image found in asset catalog. Got you. Is the system image? Is it? Let's have a look back here. Image. Image, just the name. And name is that image? No, no, no. I think we can. Can I do that? Well, mhm, mhm. That's that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's not right, Mark. Really? Oh God. Okay. Content unavailable. Mm, I'm using the wrong API here. So it's not image. It is system image. Boom. Look at that. Oh, oh. All right. Let's try that. That's fine. Let's see. Good Lord. Empty state message. And again, please. Oh, yes. So we can preview these. Let's create a mock so we can preview. That's nice. That works. And let's get rid of this guy, put back our real API. We're not really going to see much. So let's have a look at our API client. Right. So here's the request to the API client to fetch all posts and our mock. Okay, can we put a variable in place for will fail? It's false. There you go. Has to be initialized with that. Yes, it does. Init will fail is false. There you go. Let's get rid of that. Has to be bool. So you pass in this will fail. Here we're gonna say if will fail, then throw mock API client code. Yes, please. Else it is return these guys. Will fail. Fetch all posts. The API client. So it's just this we're mocking out. Now we could mark. We can't put this is loading false here. It's gotta be after this guy. It's not going to work there. Don't worry about it. Control indentation. So now we can do that. Uh, maybe can we add in a with delay? With delay. Boolean false as well. Let's add another variable in here. So with delay. That how are we doing on time? 25 minutes. Well, okay, let's keep going. Excuse me, what's this? Throw. Okay, we've got the with delay, that's fine. Just separate that. Yeah, no, that's fine where it was. Nil. Okay, cannot find NS error. Okay, go to foundation and will fail. Yes, we could say self dot with delay equals with delay. Now will fail. So let's put in let's put in a timer delay here and just wait. So we'll say if with delay, then task sleep. Nice. I was going to ask ChatGPT because I couldn't remember how to do this, but I think this is fine. But let's not say 1, let's say 2.5 seconds. Defined as nanoseconds is this, I think. We will find out if with delay, otherwise we just keep going. So there's no delay by default. Missing a return. So I think you can let's put the return on this guy, right? Return. Isn't that it? Yes, it is. Takes up so much time. No, some space. That's it. All right. Now what I would like to do is use my mock API client in the actual app, not in the preview, I think. Mock API client. Let's have a look here. Mock API client will fail is false, and with delay is false. All right. Yes, I can preview both here, but I'm going to inject. I want to see this in the simulator. So, and just to see that everything is working. So we've got our progress view, our content unavailable, and our list. And if we use the mock, we will get a response that's not actually hitting the API. It's a mocked response. So we're mocking out our API client here. Let's do it. I'm just going to grab this because it's exactly the same. I'm going to inject into the app itself. So let's say mocking view model to test behaviors. Okay. To test behaviors. There we go. All right, and let's not do that. I'm going to get rid of the list view, which was accepting a default view model. We put this initializer in place so that we can inject a view model if we need to. Here's the mocking API client. So let's say will fail. True? No, no, no. Sorry. Let's say true. Actually, true. But we don't. We want a different failure, really. So what am I doing? This is not correct. Hold on. Mock API client here will fail is throwing an error. I get you, which is not going to do anything. It's going to crash our app at the moment. So we're not ready to test a failure here. What does happen? If I go to the view model, yeah, we get this fatal error. Okay, that's not ready to test. So maybe we're jumping the gun here. So I'm going to say false to that. But for with delay, let's see our with delegate with delay true, and let's see, do we see our um our progress indicator? So list view is gone and we're injecting this mock. We should get a progress indicator for 2.5 seconds before we get this static mocked response data. Let's give it a go. Hopefully that works, then we'll work on the alert views for error handling. Here we go. Progress indicator. And then we have content. Excellent. Okay. Let's now flip this to true. At the moment when I run, this will crash our simulator, or crash our app after a delay. And there we go. Fatal error, fetch all posts. We're just printing with a fatal error. That's fine. Guys, I'm just going to switch on my heating. Okay, what's our time at? 32. Let's keep going. All right. What we want to do next is, let's go back here. Let's rearrange my views. So we've got our view model here and our view here. What I would like to do next is okay, well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down. Well, and I'm going to take a drink of water. So, so instead of that fatal error, okay, let's see where we are. All right. Instead of this fatal error here for fetch all posts, so if this asynchronous method, well, it doesn't throw, but what does is the API client. Its fetch all posts method, which is in the protocol, it throws, and at the moment it can throw a number of potential errors. So it's actually this generic make network request is the only throwing method, and its thrown error will propagate back to the fetch all posts, which will propagate back to the caller in the view model. At the moment, we're just throwing this generic NS error if we don't get a 200 response. Also, the JSON decoder can fail to decode, and that can throw an error as well. We're catching that error if it happens, and we're throwing it. So we're handling those two error types. We should really be handling all different types of status code in here. and maybe cancelled requests, whatever else. There's a uh, multiple errors we could be handling in here and throwing, which will propagate backwards. But a lot of these errors, we certainly don't want to be doing what we're doing in the view model, which is a fatal error. So if an API fails, we do not want to crash our app. Most of the time, what we want to do is inform the user what has happened. Because servers do go down, and that's expected. And just keeping the user updated and informed about what is happening in the app, um, uh, you know, builds user trust in the application. They know what it is that's happening. Unexpected behavior in the application is frustrating. So let's say if this method here, this method called apiClient, throws an error, what we want to do is treat most of them as, let's say all of them are going to, in this application, we're going to handle those errors with an alert to the user, just a simple alert saying this has happened, the API has failed or something has failed. So I use an alert presenter pattern in some other applications. So let's see if we can just build a simple alert presenter here. So I'm going to build the alert presenter below. It's a struct. So it's nice keeping everything value types, and that's not the case with this MVVM architecture. The view models are reference types, which introduces its own uh, you know its own trade-offs, and the need to keep an eye on threading and just how we structure those view models, and that they're thread safe across different areas of our application. There are other ways to do this, but our alert presenter, I think, here can be a value type. It's just holding value. That's all it's doing. It's let's build it out and see how it looks. So alert presenter is not a view. It is a struct. Okay, and in here we need a so we're going to need a separate value here called alert type. Yes, identifiable. No. You know what? It's going to be an enum. So we've got case alert type. I'm going to say dot fetch all posts failure dot. Okay, and let's make another one called unknown error. Unknown error. So there we go. The alert presenter will have a variable called type, which is an alert type. It will have a title, which will be a string, and it will be switched on the type. Fetch all posts, failed to fetch all posts. Okay. Was an error of retrieving from the server. Okay. And the unknown error is simple, an unknown error occurred. Okay. That's fine. So that shouldn't be a title. It should have a title and a message. So none of that. I'm going to do a switch as well on this. That's it, on type. The message should be this. This is not right. Oh, That's fine. Get rid of this. Oh, right, okay. Unknown error. No, I'm just going to say this. Unknown error occurred. And I think for titles, you know what? Both of these are fine the way they are. So I'm just going to put a title of error. That's it. I'm going to extract the constants on this out of here. I'll do that. I'll do that now. Oh, let's extract this style class as well. It should not be in the same file as the constants, but it should be in the common folder. Go back to constants. We've got list view, API client. I'm going to say errors, just errors, error, and static let, no data. And let's say the title, generic title, just say title. Alert title, title, alert title. Fine, let's do that. Then we need our messages here. So all posts error message. No, I'm going to take this guy here. Thank you. And then the unknown error message. Static let no unknown error message. Yeah, that's fine. So there we go. And let's just get rid of these. So as usual, we'll call our constants here error alert title. They're the same for each of these. Here it's constants dot error dot posts, all post error. There you go. And here it's going to be an unknown error. Unknown error message. Okay, I think that's fine. We also need, okay, so this alert presenter is also going to manage the presenting and hiding of the alert view in the view. So we have to make this observable object. And in here, does it need to be observable, Mark? Maybe not. Let's see how we go. Maybe it doesn't. The property. No, it does. It does. It does. It definitely needs to be observable. So observable object, let's say at published. Oh, maybe not. We don't need that. So this will be var presented. That's impressive. Don't need that guy. I'm just going to say is presented. Is false. There we go. Do I need an initializer? I think I do. Yes, because we need an alert type for sure. So init is presented. Don't need to pass in the is presented. It is always initialized as false. We just need to pass in the type. And oh, sorry. This needs to be a class then. So that puts an end to our defining it as a value type. It's a class, but we do we will be updating values on this object and using them within the view model. Okay. 45 minutes. This is a long video as well. Let's keep going. Let's see how we go. Back to the list view here. That's great. We will put an alert presenter on our view model. Just built alert presenter. Thank you. And it is a published variable. Yes, it is. I'm going to give it a default value. Am I going to give it a default value? Yeah, I think I am. But I'm going to leave it optional for now and see how we go. Down here, I'm going to remove this fatal error and I'm going to get our alert presenter. And I'm going to initialize it with a fetch all posts. So say it like that. Oh. Okay. So I need got you. Define that. No, set that to false. Define the alert presenter, and then set is presented to true. Is it okay to do that? It's a bit long-winded, but I think it's okay. Let's keep all this in place for now. I think this alert presenter will become common after we confirm it's working. So now we will add the alert to our view. It's this guy. Title is presented, actions and message. Okay. Oh, let's not do that. Alert. Give me those again. This guy. So let's break it down. There we go. So the alert title. So let's say view model dot alert presenter, and the alert presenter knows the title based on the type that it is initialized with dot title. Ha ha ha. Yeah, this is. I'm just going to ignore that error for a little while. So is presented. Yes, please. Oh, they're optional. That's optional, right? Yes. I think we can't have this optional type. I think it needs to have a default value here. So I'm going to say alert presenter. No. Dot init with the type unknown error. I'll say for now. And let's see. Oh, got you. And let's see if that fails later on. Is presented the actions. Okay. The actions are pretty straightforward, but I like to keep the actions out of the view if possible, because on larger views, and if we want to handle multiple alerts, you start building up actions, and some of those actions have dependencies. They need to use the view model, whatever, and you end up with a long, uh, uh, you know, uh, list of actions here. So I'm going to keep those out and define the actions separately. Let's call it the list view alert actions. That needs to be a struct, and it must conform to view, I think. Yeah. And then we have var body. Same body. There you go. No, we won't be doing that. Will it have type? It will have type. So let's say var alert type is alert type, like that. It that's fine, isn't it? I think so. Let's just put a, sorry, you do switch in here, switch on alert type, unknown error. Ooh, look at that. Sorry, you can go away. Switch on alert type. Oh, come on, let's switch case error. Oh no, what am I hitting? Everything's wrong here. Dot fetch all posts and case dot unknown error. Thank you. In here, we will put a button that says retry. Let's try that. That's not a bad. That's not a, well, actually, I think we probably need to. Let's put a retry in there like that. And let's also put a OK button with a role cancel, close, cancel, or confirm, confirm. And then the retry, let's worry about that later. We need an instance of the view model to do that. But it's a nice idea. So let's just put it there, not implemented yet. And for unknown error, let's just put in an OK button. For the fun of it, let's, oh, no. Oh, yes, cancel. Let's just put a cancel role. A role that indicates a button that cancels an operation. Fine. Let's put it in for now. And let's go to our constants, add these constants in. So error, I'm going to say, oops, let's keep these together. So static let all posts error alert confirm is equal to OK. And then retry is equal to retry. What about alert? Because this is the same, right? So I'm just going to say default error alert confirm. And let's just move that down below all of this. So there we go. And here you're going to say constants dot error dot default error actually confirm. That's fine. And it's the same down here. Default error alert confirm. I'm just going to say alert confirm. It's a bit long, isn't it? Long-winded. I don't know. Alert confirm. It's fine. Here. Now this video is moving along. 54 minutes, almost an hour. And we need to test this yet. And we need to build it out. It's not working yet. So the button is retry. So let's grab this constant here. All posts. My naming might not be the very best. And I'm going to just leave this alone for now. I'm not going to extract this because I want to add retry behavior. put a to do on that. You know, not something we need to do straight away, but to do, to do. There you go. And back to our actions. So now we can define our actions here. And we have to pass in a type, alert type, comes from our view model, and it is the alert presenter dot type. And then finally, the message on the alert. Okay, so this is a text object, not a string directly. We pass in the string, so we say view model dot alert presenter, not unwrapped like that. Thank you. Dot message. Why are we unwrapping this here? View model alert presenter is presented. That's gone. It's fine. Or generic parameter A could not be inferred. View model alert. Let's have a look at the view model here. What am I doing? Alert presenter. It's published. Ahaha. Okay, that's fine. This is a published variable. There. List view alert actions. Alert type is a type. That's fine, I think. Oh, hold on. Wrap this like that. Can I convert value of type text? Oh, that is the same. So we can wrap these enclosures. Oh, not that. Is that it? Okay. I'm gonna pull out the alert presenter now. Sorry, I'll grab that because it's going to stay with the alert presenter, but I want the alert presenter to be its own file. Yes. Yes. So we're going to import combine here. We're going to put the protocol or the enum for type here because it's used elsewhere. Let's just close up these spaces. Looks fine. Alert presenter. Oh, I think it's common, guys, isn't it? This has the capacity to build to be something quite large. We could break these up and make them specific later on and maybe create a protocol for the alert presenters and have different presenters. I think that's a good idea. For now, though, let's leave it where it is. Let's go back to, sorry, not that. This is the list view. This should be the view model. I just want to test this now. So, okay. So now we make our request to the API client, fetch all posts. If an error is thrown from the API client, we set the alert presenter object with the type fetch all posts failure, and we set the observable value is presented equal to true. The view then should see this is presented value being toggled to true and should pick up the correct title, should apply the correct actions. In this case, it will be these actions. So we'll get a confirm button, an OK button, and a retry button, which for now does nothing, but it should dismiss the view. I think this is handled natively by Swift UI, but we could go in here and toggle the alert presenter is presented to false, we would need a view model instance in here. We would likely need a view model instance in here to do a lot of things like the actual retry. We're not doing that at the moment. So I think for now, that's it. We should not see this unknown error occur because we're not handling it here. Now, in order to test this behavior, what I'm going to do is update our mock. So if I can go back here, so will fail. Oh, so will fail is actually going to, so this mock is doing its own thing. It's not actually testing our implementation here. Oh, hold on. It is. So it's the API client. So if I throw an error from here, and this will be the mock that I'm injecting, right? Yes, it is. Where is it gone? Here we go. Here's our mock API client. Will fail, will set to true. It will throw this error, which in our view model should be caught here. We're not actually explicitly unwrapping the error and handling the specific error, which we should be doing. We're not going to do that just now because I want to test this alert here. Okay, we set is loading to false. The progress indicator should disappear. The alert presenter is defined. And then the is presented Boolean is toggled to true. Okay, something I am concerned with is the alert presenter and making sure it runs on a main thread. So I think I'm going to extract the handle error logic, pass in an error. No, not doing that. What we're doing is just this. But, oh, so I'll just say type here and make that an alert type. And then we'll just say type here, set it to true. Excellent. And I'm going to mark this as main actor. It should always run on the main thread. Do I need to create a task here to ensure this runs on the main thread? In the old days, we just do a dispatch queue main async. Here I would likely do what is it? Await. No, that's different. So task wait main actor dot run this guy. I'm going to wrap this up for now. That is here. We're not just calling this handle error with a type called fetch all posts failure. That's it. Okay. We're testing this. Let's find out. So let's go to our mock API client here. Let's make this a bit bigger because this stuff here, you know what? I don't like this. That's it. Just break all these down. That. All right. So the delays here will fail, will throw an error. and it will be caught. The error is not propagated correctly. It'll just throw this default fetch all posts failure error. And we expect to see an alert with the correct title, messaging, and actions. 2 buttons, 1 OK, 1 retry, which won't do anything. So let's make sure our app runs with the correct mocking in place. So will fail is true, and with a delay is true. So we expect to see the progress indicator. Let's run it through. Bring it up here. Launching. Indicator. Okay, and we got a no content screen. We also get our alert, and the alert says error. There was an error while retrieving posts from the server. We get an OK and a retry. OK will just close. Yes, it does. We've got our there. What happens if we hit the retry? We should see the printout for retry if the actions are hooked up correctly. There. Where was, oh, there it is. There's the retry. Okay. So that's it. So what have we done? This is the longest video, 1 hour and 6. So a bit of time in this video. Let's just check what we've done. Let's bring all this up. Okay, so yes, we're continuing to mock out these behaviors in the app to test them. In the API client, we extracted the make network request responsibilities into a generic method so that we can use that with other APIs later down the track. Mock API client, we added will fail and with delay to test both our alerts, our error handling through the UI alerts, and also our progress indicator for simulated delays. Extracted all of our strings to the constants, as many as we could, including the base URL and the endpoint URL or endpoint paths for the post API. We created a style file for our images for now, just for the no content screen. Then we created this alert presenter object, which manages the publisher for the is presented state, also the type, title, and message of the alert. We updated our card view. I thought we did that. Oh yes, just to extract the constants, I think, right? I thought we did that in the last video. It's here anyway. I can't quite remember. These constants, yeah. List view. Oh, right. Okay, the list view. We did a few things on list view, all right. So we did the alerts here. I'm going to extract these alerts, or these actions. Like I said, I like to extract these away because they just become quite straightforward from a coding perspective. They're usually just buttons and actions, usually referencing the interface of the view models. Usually I have a view model in here. For the retry, for instance, we'll need an instance of the view model, and you're just hitting view model, fetch all posts again, and handling that. And all of the actions, even if your app begins to get bigger and you have a number of needs for alerts and actions based on those alerts, this just becomes a lot of code. And I like to keep it away from the view because it's quite straightforward. Not a lot of complexity to it. Most of the logic is lives in the view model, not in this alert actions view type. So I'm just going to extract that to a file. Say it's alert. Do I need to define Swift UI here? Yes, I do. Okay, let's do that. Is that okay? Yes, it is. Back to our view. Again, trying to keep the view as simple as possible and as clean as possible. We implemented the is loading with the progress view, and these are quite native and lightweight, so we're leaving them in place. So implemented the progress view for loading states and the empty state for when we do not have content, and continuing to use the list with the defined style for the items made identifiable on post ID. We've wrapped all this in a group so that we can apply the modifiers task and alert. And I think that's okay for now. It possibly if we were to spend more time on the UI, we may want to contain all of this in a scroll view or in a VStack or something like that in a parent container. If that was the case, we don't need this group item. You might have a parent container that, maybe has a border or some padding or something like that. But for now, that's fine. And then lastly, we separated the actions, a couple of to-dos in there. That's fine. This is the list view model. Handle error. Oh, yes. Okay, and in the handle error, we extracted that to a handle error function and defined that on main actor. And we ran the alert presenter in a task on the main thread. And that's because usually we need to do that on the main thread to issue an alert view. Okay, let's commit that code and we'll pick it up where we left off in the next video. We'll discuss what we need to do then. Okay, see you then. Actually, maybe we'll just commit this first together before we go. So I'm going to say, what video are we on? Video 5. Okay, so let's say video 5. Now I gotta rehash all of that again. Okay, so add generics to API client. Progress view. What was the last guy? We didn't do that in the last one, did we? Add a URL request and display data in the list. Okay. Hit the commit button here. So let's say added progress indicator. I'm gonna remove this capitalization to API client. That's fine. Add generics to API client. Added progress indicator and empty state view and empty state view. Empty state view. Lightweight error handling with UI alerts. I think that's it. Handling with UI alerts. That's it. That's video 5. Commit and push. Okay. Thanks, guys. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.